You really haven't. And
Been
I
a
was
while.
just thinking about when the last time I saw you or Greg or anyone. So it's nice to see you under even as this.
Where are you right now?
I am in upstate New York, actually. I'm pretty blessed. I mean, I'm looking at a waterfall at the moment.
Great.
Like, I don't know if you can see that.
Yes. Love it.
So I'm in Woodstock. So thankfully, hey, where is it? Hey, right there. So, and I have a little stream right here. So, I mean, it's not so bad. Figured better than Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, I'm stuck in Greenpoint.
Okay.
So.
I'm sorry.
Oh, good.
Well, it looks big.
It's fun.
Let's see. So Jason is on now. Everyone to wear a phone. Oh, okay. I guess if you have headphones, wear them is what they're suggesting. Cool. I'm outside, so I hope the audio is not too windy. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. How do we start this?
You just start, Jason. How about everyone, can they introduce themselves?
Are people participating at the moment?
I feel like I see Joe and Chris's mic off. Is that just me?
Hi, yes. Hello.
Yeah,
Hey,
y'all can turn on your mics and just start talking, give us an introduction.
Okay, all right, wonderful. Thanks for joining us under these conditions. We really appreciate the Hofstra MEISA committee for putting this together, so we can at least continue a conversation about A&R, the music business, and some of our backgrounds, and perhaps questions that students or whoever else is tuning in might want to know about us or the industry itself. So let's just start across the board. Chris, if you could give us a little brief history about yourself, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, hi guys. Thank you, Jason. I do A&R for Atlantic Records and with an imprint under Atlantic called Canvasback Music. I've been with Atlantic for probably 3-ish years. Been with Canvasback in the New York office for the past 2. We do Group Love, we do Alt J, The War on Drugs, Death Cab for Cutie, and then my first 2 signings, a young man named Briston Maroney and a new group in New York called Michelle that we really love. So yeah, really thankful that everyone's here hanging out. I hope I can give something of good advice here, and really excited to hear what everybody else has going on.
Thank you, Chris. That's great. Big fan of all those bands and Canvasback, and certainly what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you, sir.
Excellent. Andrew West, I'm very impressed with the panelists that have been pulled together here, because we have people with A&R backgrounds in record recording and certainly in publishing, and I think there's a lot to offer here. Andrew, I know pretty well, but I will let you tell your own story.
Yeah, I started at the small company called Razor and Tie about 7 years ago. So we mostly I was on the publishing side back then. Mostly dealt with a lot of our writers, and then I went over to our record side about 6 years ago. Signed an artist called Starset there. We were working with Pretty Reckless, Yellow Card, a lot of like pop punk bands at the time. And then we eventually got bought out by Concord Music. So now I'm doing A&R for all of the 5 labels underneath Concord. So that's Loma Vista, which is St. Vincent, Sylvanesso, Marilyn Manson. I just signed an artist over there called Overcoats from Brooklyn.
Overcoats is amazing, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, but.
Yeah, Soccer Mommy. So we have a country label called Rounder based in Nashville. So I signed an artist, Rustin Kelly, there. We have Fantasy Records, which is, a lot of legacy acts. What do we got over there? Marcus King, Switchfoot, Seether, Concord Records. We're all over the place. Concord Records is more of our jazz label. So I do A&R for all of those. And then we have Fearless too, which is our pop punk and rock label. So yeah, I Prevail, Pretty Reckless, a lot of pop punk stuff. So yeah, all over the board. Jason, I think you cut out.
My apologies, I muted my microphone. I said that's fantastic. It's really great to have a background in both publishing and certainly master recording and how those two things merge. That's really awesome. Is Joe next?
Yeah, for sure. I can
Hi,
hop
Joe.
in here. Hey, Jason. Yeah, thank you for passing it to me. So I'm Joe Welch. I'm the head of artist relations at Quadio, which is actually a new college-based social music platform. So basically, kind of my role is mainly right now around artist recruitment and artist relations around specifically college talent. And so we're really trying to recruit these new artists and make sure they have a great experience on the Quadio platform, which was started in October 2018. So still relatively new, but I'm super pumped to be here. I know a lot of the Hofstra students are currently using the platform, so excited to hear any thoughts, feedback on that front too. Yeah, just happy to be here and excited to hear what everyone has to say.
Thank you. That's really fantastic. Up next is Kylee.
Hi.
Hi, Kylee.
Hi. So I just graduated Hofstra in May and started my first job as coordinator of research and analysis at Warner. I'm in the beginning stages of helping their content insights team do like their quote unquote A&R research. And then prior to this, I've done A&R at our student run record label. And then I've also interned for A&R with Mom and Pop, Columbia Records, and Downtown Music Publishing.
Fantastic. Well, that's fantastic. So now you're implementing what you learned at Hofstra into the real world.
This is what's happening.
Fantastic. Well, all of the
Yeah.
Hofstra students that are watching right now know that there is hopefully some future for you in this industry. And Kylee is an example of that. Good friend of mine is up next, Greg Johnson from Columbia Records, who has a very extensive history also in publishing and now recorded music too.
Hey, Jason. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Greg.
Nice
to see you.
Nice to see you too. It's been a while.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us.
For sure. So I do A&R at Columbia Records. I've been there for 2 years now. I started out on the record side at Atlantic. I was there for a little over 8 years. And then I moved over to publishing, and I worked in publishing for another 8 or 9 years, and now I'm back on the record side. So I have experience in both worlds. Currently, I work with Blink-182, Haim, Swedish House Mafia, a new R&B artist from the Bronx, Riley Lanes, worked on last Lil Peep album, all kinds of things. I think my experience in publishing transferred over to Columbia in a unique way, in the sense that in publishing you work on a lot of different projects.
100%. I mean, just to kick it off, sort of that might be a good thing to lean into is, I mean, everyone's introduced themselves now. I mean, I guess I do have some questions, but that is one of the questions that I have, is that people that do have a publishing background, do you think that it's easier for them to make records in this day and age? Do you have your artists listening to you as to what writers they might want to collaborate with, if they do? Are there any challenges that you face as an A&R person with sort of this knowledge of publishing, where some people on the record side don't have this information about how the publishing world works? I'm just curious, is that an advantage for you?
I like to think so. I think, when people ask, what do A&R people do? I think, A&R people can check different boxes. And, some A&R people check maybe one box, and some people check many boxes.
Right.
And coming from a publishing background, a box that you might check is your network of writers and producers that you can lean on to help you make records.
Absolutely.
And sometimes as an A&R person, starting out 20 years ago at Atlantic, I certainly didn't have those relationships with the writers and producers. And as a young scout, you sort of build that up over time. So, but that's certainly helpful now in my career at Columbia, having that.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, do you find, even Andrew can answer this question, do you find that songwriters and producers are now bringing you artists that they've developed and or signed in some fashion?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually, what you're saying. It was really beneficial for me to have a publishing background when I first started. A lot of the artists that I found and ended up signing, a lot of them were through writers of ours.
Mm-hmm.
One of our writers, Steve Aiello, at the time, he was in 30 Seconds to Mars, and he was doing a lot of writing with some rock bands. And that's sort of how I found Starset.
Fantastic.
You know, so it's all great, you know, having a background in publishing and writers. And I forgot to mention, I did go to Hofstra University, so.
You did? Fantastic. So you're another, did this music program exist when you went to Hofstra?
I actually dropped out of the music program.
Oh, hey guys.
After, you know, 1 year, but no, I stayed all 4 years. It was great. I got a lot of, it did exist. I was actually in this group for a while.
That's fantastic.
I was booking.
Well, just sort of to lean into discovery a little bit. I mean, everyone discovers music differently. Whether you're working at a major label, there's certainly a lot of data and information that's being given to you. I guess this is a question really for everyone. So let's start with somebody who hasn't spoken. I'm trying to find my Zoom interaction here. Oh, here we go. That's really nice. So Chris, for instance, how do you find talent? I know this is a really broad and vague question, but everyone finds talent differently.
Yeah. Well, I think to your point, to these notes, especially on research, I had consulted for Atlantic when I lived in Nashville, and I was part of like Atlantic's first real-ish research team, which this was 3 years ago, so it was a lot less put together than it is now. And even then, it was interesting because we were coming, you know, it was Spotify viral charts, it was YouTube chart, it was just be at the ground floor of everything. And I think as I was starting, I think that's what I thought finding talent was just chasing something because I think that's what I was told to do, and then just go get it. Not develop taste, not develop relationships, not develop a real, you know, half of the A&R as the repertoire, so you don't have that skill set. It was just find a thing that could be a hit record and get it. And then as I realized that really wasn't the case on the research side, it was more or less just identifying trends and seeing what's coming next. So I think for me, a bit of it is still research component. Like Warner has a bunch of great tools and a bunch of really, really, really
Is Instrumental one of those tools?
Instrumental confuses me still, honestly, because people will be reached out to on behalf of Instrumental that are already signed. So I don't know if it's something internal. There's a program that Atlantic owns called Sodatone, which is
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so they just made this really comprehensive database for all internal and external stuff. But so now I'd say I find stuff it's a mixture between the research stuff that's coming in, maintaining relationships with managers and writers and publishers and agents and lawyers, and also I guess I'll be the first to bring it up because we should be talking about it. Being on TikTok and seeing what's happening there, because
I mean this is actually a very current discussion, Chris. So thanks for bringing it up. Are you? I mean, my kids. I mean, this is obviously different. I have a 7 and 9-year-old who live on TikTok. So they're probably
finding hits faster than we are, man. I think it's
pretty much is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I feel as if I'm 26. I'm definitely out of the target demo for TikTok. So I feel like I'm 900,000 years old watching like the new dance challenges.
Yes. And do you do them?
I tried the Megan Thee Stallion Savage dance. Not for me.
Excellent.
It is something that like it's just the same. It's, you know, when Vine was happening, Shawn Mendes comes out of Vine, and with TikTok, you know, they're breaking songs every day now. So it's this thing of like just keeping to your question of how you find stuff is just seeing where culture is moving, seeing where stuff is happening, and making sure you're not really late to the party.
Right. Okay. That's a really good answer. I mean, Joe, how does your company sort of integrate into discovery? Or, I mean, I guess I want to know a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, totally. So since our company we have such a strict focus, it's all about college students. The platform actually requires a .edu to use. So with that, we have a very targeted approach in terms of discovery. And honestly, it revolves a lot through Instagram. So basically what we do, we actually were on the road pretty much all fall on like a recruitment tour in a way for the platform. And we basically research all that we could about a campus and like any student run record labels, even a organization like this and basically go through who they feature on their page, any followers following, and you'd actually be very surprised at the level of talent you can find.
I mean, that would be interesting information, I think, for, anybody on this panel doing A&R, to be honest. Are you able to funnel that information to labels? Who is this information useful for?
So basically for our platform, so it's a new streaming platform. So the whole idea is we're meeting these people to kind of sell them the value of Quadio and just show them what it's about so that they can get content on, and kind of start building from there. So when we go and meet with these people, the idea is really to, show them what we're about and also help them connect with other creators and stuff like that.
Certainly inside of Quadio, though, there must be some kind of chart, where
exactly.
things are bigger than others, and maybe the top 3 would be things that labels, publishers, or so on would want to know about.
I think so, honestly. I mean, the whole idea is really trying to get to this talent before it's, become big on Spotify.
That's the challenge, I think, for most A&R people is either we arrive very early, too early. I mean, that's been my problem most of my career.
Yeah.
Or, we're jumping in 11th hour and it's just insane. So it's sort of the middle ground that I've always been seeking, is some activity, but, something that is not just too competitive that I can't get involved in. Greg, how do you feel about something like that? What level of discovery, and I don't want to drive this conversation 100%, so please, anyone feel free to jump in. At what level of discovery do you sort of get interested in? What metrics or things besides the music, of course? The music has to be amazing, I would imagine.
Well,
first and foremost.
I think nowadays, all of these, companies with the resources are pulling a lot of the same analytics and a lot of the same data. I don't think there's any sort of...
We're not looking at anything unique.
Well,
right?
in the sense that, people are, I think everybody's on this train now where we're sort of like some unique companies that were really, really good at sort of analysis of data. And I think now, again, most companies, I think, good publishers and good labels are, they're seeing a lot of the same information. And I think the key is being able to evaluate that information properly. And part of that is not only reading the data and looking at the trends, but looking at it from a holistic point of view and figuring out, is this great at the end of the day? Is this still, an incredible artist 100%. With incredible songs, right? So, everybody saw, Arizona Zervas was out there. Was out there. Everybody, there's so many stories about, I saw it. Okay. But who pulled the trigger and went after it, right? At the right time. So again, all of these artists are all out there in front of all of us. There's no secret anymore.
Greg, do you guys in this, I hope from Atlantic to Columbia, I'm not going behind enemy lines here, but I think for us internally, I think this year, before this all changed, the ethos seemed to be changing of we're still listening or still reliant on the research component of it, but I think we're internally trying to get not back, but just this evolution of okay, it was all gut and then it was all stats, and now I think it's this marriage of okay, stuff's gonna get hyper inflated, hyper competitive. Us finding the balance between them.
Yes, I agree with you. And let me speak to an anecdote, sort of just to speak to this, is that I had a young assistant given to me that I really didn't have a choice. So I was the head of A&R at Republic up until January of 2018. I now describe myself as a recovering A&R person. After 25 years of doing this, now I touch a lot of different things, whether it's management or music distribution or my own publishing company or whatever. I'm untethered at the moment, so to speak. But in late 2017, I was given a new assistant who, fresh out of college, just to anybody here, but this was part of my job, was to train this person. And the first thing that I did was send an email saying, please let me know what you think of this. And it was a SoundCloud link, no information given to the person. Let me know what you think of this. Literally within 10 minutes, I get a response, 400,000 Facebook likes, 1 million Instagram followers, just all of this data. And I hit the speaker, I say, please come in here. And I go, hey man, what did you think of the music? And he goes, oh, I didn't listen to it. And I go, I asked what you think of this. I didn't ask for a statistics rundown.
Right.
The truth is, if something, in my opinion, moves the meter, is what, passionately, is when maybe you look at the data a little further. But it's hard when you're working for a company like Republic or any big major label.
Yeah.
Data is a huge component of it.
Yeah.
So before you know it, you have a child sitting in your office that has 100 million streams and looks like, a deer in the headlights and unsure of what to do. I know we've all seen this story. So I guess more than anything, the people that are tuning in right now and interested in pursuing music as a career, what advice could we give them to sort of, again, this is the quintessential A&R panel question. What advice can we give them to kind of break through to get our attention beyond just the data? Is it scaling at Instagram? It's certainly not DMing A&R people. That's not a good, that's never a good look. But what are some of the qualifiers I think that we all look for beyond just good music?
I mean, I think from my perspective, I think one of the most important things is energizing your local community. I know I've, met with some artists who have these big streaming numbers, and then you go to see, a show maybe where in their hometown and they can't even pack the venue or something like that. And so
it's not really
my perspective, exactly. It's like, sometimes the streams are so disassociated from the actual fan base. So that's why I think energizing that local community base is so important.
That's good, really good advice.
Yeah, it's got to be number one for sure. But things have to really come together. Like a live show has to be great. I mean, I don't really care about ticket sales the data is really nice, but it's still like 50-50 for me.
Yeah, it has to support some intangible feeling.
Yeah, we don't really have a data team or anything. I'm kind of by myself.
That's kind of nice. That's refreshing.
It's pretty nice, but it's what Greg was saying. It's really nice to have, but there's everyone has usually the same.
Yeah. Well, Kylee, like as like a new graduate, sort of not having a big background in A&R, this is sort of the new landscape that you're walking into is data. How is that challenging for you?
It's definitely challenging because I feel like people want to see the numbers.
Yeah.
But I just grew up in a very musical family. I'm a very music oriented person, so that's always still the number one thing for me. So when I'm looking for people to pitch, I have a huge source list, and I go through everything and I look at who's on what playlist or who's coming from where, but I kind of forget about that, just kind of make a big list that's all mixed in together and just go down and say what do I think about the music, to try to deter myself from making a decision solely based on the data.
Right. That's good. That's excellent, actually. Greg, as a senior A&R person at Columbia Records, is not to give away any secret sauce, but I mean, how much is data a play at Sony, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any secrets. I think, I think the data is so, I started out many years ago at Lava Atlantic, and I was a research guy there. And this was back when calling record stores, right?
Right. Wow. That's a data.
And then, I sort of wanted to very much not become the research guy. And so it was really important for me to learn from the A&R people that I was under. And so I learned how to make records. And so now at Columbia, it's nice being at a place where I can be given records to work on, and work strictly from a creative point of view, but also, have an appreciation for the analytics and data and what that means. And going back to your question, I think that, the analytics are important just because they give you a little bit of a filter, because you can't look at a million things, but you may be able to look at 1,000 things.
You're right.
So what do I, in my 16 hours a day that I work or whatever it is, right? What am I spending my time looking at? I can't look at every single thing out there. So just give me some sort of filters so I know what to look at. And that's what I think data does. And then from there, you filter it down to, certain number of things, and
Personal
then you
qualifiers,
can
maybe.
make that, but then it comes down to like what's great, you know, who's a star, who's got incredible songs, right?
Truly.
It's just, to me, data is just it's a starting place. It's a filter.
Maybe it supports the feeling you have even.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, perhaps, right? It gives
Yeah.
some credence, maybe, that other people like something that I
Right.
like as well. Maybe some value.
I mean, while we're sort of on this, was like, I just want to talk about creative for a moment. You know, there is in my opinion, there's sort of a lost art to A&R, you know, where there's a lot of companies looking at data, onboarding records that are already finished, putting them out and or supporting them. You know, people that have had a sort of long history in A&R have been able to talk to artists about what kind of records do they want to make, what producer do they want to work with, what studio do they want to work in, you know, like really informed decisions that change their music, or may make them better, you know. A&R is supposed to be objective. How much record making do you feel like, and this is a question for anybody on this panel making records at the moment, are you making a lot of records? Are you finding things that are able to be released immediately? Is it a bit of both? Are there a lot of people in the A&R department that are like you, are able to take a project from discovery to retail, essentially?
I'll just speak to that quickly, Jason. I mean, I think, you know, to that point, you know, the record making process is something that you don't learn overnight. And sort of, you know, the tools to be able to make a record and know that whole process and helping, you know, the artist that you're working with complete their vision, like that's a whole skill set in itself. And I think talking about those boxes that different A&R people check, you know, some people are really good data people. Some people are very good at closing deals. Some people are great scouts. Some people are great with artists. Some people are not great with artists.
Yeah,
some
truly.
You know, so there's all these different things. And so you got to, you know, think about like, which boxes do I check? Which do I need to improve on? And I think, you know, the record making process is something which I think is probably, you know, something comes at, you know, different stages in people's career where they, you know, learn how to do it. Maybe they learn how to do it well. Maybe they learn to do it really, really well. And they become people that folks can depend on to help build records, maybe that are able to help maybe younger A&R who haven't made that many records, help guide them.
Yeah, give them some mentoring.
New artists and give them, you know, help, you know, complete the vision.
That's why I describe it as a lost art, you know, is that, you know, when I joined the major label music business in 1994, which is insane, it was all about discovery and then really taking that journey with the artist and making the record and hiring the right producer and doing the budget together and making creative decisions that would literally, you know, shape their future. So a lot of those creative decisions might be being made earlier in their career when they're putting out records independently or whatever. So it's interesting, you know, how an A&R person could shape somebody's future at what point when they get involved. So this has been a really interesting, you know, basic conversation. I think we've covered a lot of the issues I think that we all face as A&R people at the moment, or creatives. You know, it being 30 minutes left on our Zoom call here, I kind of wanted to open it up to questions for us, if that's possible. I'm unsure. Yes.
Okay. Hi. So we have some student submissions that these students wanted you guys to give some feedback on. So I'm gonna play those for you. Be constructive. Don't roast them.
Never.
But I'm gonna try to make it as anonymous as possible. Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
So, this. So can you guys, I'm just gonna play this super quick as like a test. Can you hear this?
I can see it.
Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
100%.
All right, so this track, I actually got the names wrong, but here's the first track.
I know we do. These game shit, man. RP all them niggas, man. You already know what's going on, man. Ripping shit, man. Splitting shit. You already know what's going on, man. Shit on stuff, too. And I got it on me and it's still stupid. You said? Me and Eddie E. Duffer got me overseas. Baby wanna do me, said I'm chocolate like I'm Jodeci. Carter be the team, got the wave so they notice me. Irving call it deficit, I feel like I'm 23. Bitch, I am a star, designer shirt with some 23s. You think that he raw on the low, that nigga under me.
Okay, so
my first comment, just first and foremost, is when you're listening as a consumer on a DSP, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Deezer, whatever, you basically as an artist have about 1 second to capture that person's attention. There's 24 seconds of wasted time here. Like I would have dropped the song, the beat immediately at 24, because that whole ambient intro lost me.
Intros are hard with streaming. Spotify will literally cut you off a playlist in an hour.
It doesn't sound like a song to me until 24 seconds is my point.
Yeah. I feel like, so first off, thank you for whoever sent that in. I definitely wouldn't have the guts to just like drop my song in front of a bunch of A&R people expecting feedback. Like I'm a wimp. I'm not brave enough to do that. So thank you for sending it in. When I hear something like that, I think at this stage of a career, I hear like, that beat reminds me of like YB and Namir rubbing off the paint. If I'm this artist, I'm going to go listen to that song and listen to stuff within that tempo range and like not bite their flows, obviously, but like see how these people are getting in pockets, see how these artists are using space like that well. Because I think there were certain moments where that felt right and the story, it felt connected to me. But then there are other times where I feel like you could have approached a bar a different way. So I would go and just listen to stuff if you're going to go make things within a certain tempo, especially in rap, because so much to me right now is like I'm categorizing genres under rap by like how fast or slow the stuff is. I would go see what they've done well and see maybe if there are ways that you can edit what you're doing.
Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I like the vocals a lot. I thought the beat was a little bit kind of muddy, so there wasn't like enough room for the vocals, sort of. And I think that's just one thing that I heard from it. It was kind of all over the place, but the vocals on top I thought were really good. And yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily work in the hip hop world, but you know, does anyone who knows who did that song? Like, or did you produce it yourself? Did you do the beat? There's a lot more questions I have on top.
Yeah, if y'all are here and you submitted and you want to like be part of the discussion, you can feel free to like chime in.
But yeah, I dug the song.
Awesome. So if there's no more comments, I'm going to go to the next one. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
All right, cool. Okay, so we have this track.
Your desktop image is a miracle.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
He just want his.
Oops, sorry.
You got me triggered off front. You got my stress up, my dress up and rest. You got me nesting. You got me copping more smoke, popping out more. Make sure I still got it like that. You got me low from the go, always no show. Don't know why I bottle with that. Cause I'm back, y'all niggas say gauge it, baby. Come here right now. Nigga got me blocking blessings. I swear, baby, boy, don't do it like that.
What do we think?
Greg, you want to take that one?
Oh, she's here. She's here.
Wonderful.
It sounds super cool.
Yeah.
You know, a point that I will make is, you know, while, you know, as A&R people and as coming from like a record making background, that's so important to me. I think something that, you know, you have to pay attention to sort of, you know, the visuals on artists nowadays, right? Kids, they're here all day, right?
Yeah.
There's something, you know, visual A&R is I don't want to say it's as important, but could be as, you know, maybe equally as important as the music. You have to know what the artist is holistically. I think, I used that word earlier, but you know, it's I think it's really great. I think kids, you know, kids really care about artists as a whole. It's not just about a song in a vacuum. They want to know, you know, can they relate to the artist? You know, how do they connect with that artist? And I think, you know, different, and Jason can remember this, there were songs, you know, would come from Europe in a vacuum, these like dance, you never knew who the artist was, you don't know where they came from. You know, nowadays, you know, a song pops off, you know, what's the first thing kid does? Goes on Instagram, sees who the artist, who they are. So I think, you know, it's important to sort of look at these artists, you know, as a whole. And I think just listening to the song as a, unless that's what we're doing, is just listening to it, you know, from you know, just the audio. I think it's sort of incomplete, you know, process.
Yeah, I think you're right 100% about that. I feel like now visuals are probably 50-50 in 2020.
100%. Even when Spotify vertical videos being so important, I mean, I like those. And certainly, I mean, just talking about the song for a second, I did like the tempo. I did like the lyrics I could understand. I like the sort of the dreamy reverb effects on the vocals. It's something I enjoyed listening to. But it does feel a little incomplete, as you said. But
and
you know,
I don't think that's, and again, that's no. It's just, you know, to paint a whole picture, because I think it's, you know, that's what you have to do as A&R now.
I agree.
To be able
I mean,
to
a strong video for this would be nice.
You know, beyond the song.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's really good feedback, actually.
Is everyone set to go to the next one?
Yeah, sure.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
I hope this is helpful, guys. Everyone listening.
I mean, who's the artist? Can we look her up?
She should be on your screen there.
No, sorry, we're seeing your face.
Oh, okay.
It's me.
Oh, my video.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. My name's Ogechi.
Ogechi, nice to meet you.
Now we have like, now there's a vibe, right?
And now I know who we're looking at.
Do you have like a SoundCloud link?
Yes, I do. And also I'm on Spotify as Ogechi as well, and all the networks. So yes, that song is not released. I wanted feedback on it because that genre of music is where my sound is now, and what I'm working on now. So
what are you describing the genre like?
Is my sound as Afro, hip hop and beat. So I'm Nigerian. So yes,
that's incredible. But Greg is right, now that we know what you look like, and it's more of a marriage of the whole, again, the holistic of the whole entity. So I love when I'm able to see, you know, even on a SoundCloud, like the visual of the artist, so I know what I'm listening to.
I appreciate you.
100%. Please do share your SoundCloud link in the comments if you don't mind. I think we'd all like to hear it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna go to the next one here. Sorry.
just you and me, me and you. I can't recall a moment like this before. I see what you are now, could there be more? Forget what they say, for them it is just a play. It is just you and me, me and you. You got lost in the mainstream, you've forgotten your part, and it seems that I'm not in. Do I?
All right. I mean, as a former publisher of some of the greatest musicals in the world, certainly has all the DNA of a good song for theater. I'm assuming that's a composer. You have some background on that artist.
Hi, it's me.
Hey, really beautiful voice.
Oh, that's not me.
Oh, it's not. You're the composer?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Please let us know a little bit about your process and how what the song is for.
So this song I wrote for a song cycle that I'm currently writing. This is the 11 o'clock number, which is the part in a musical where the emotions are so high.
Yeah.
You have to sing. So it's about him and love and him saying like, I'm not gonna be as successful as his partner, and it's him accepting that.
Right.
You go and be successful. I'm here and I'll just live my life.
It's great. Is this part of a bigger piece? Is it one part of the show?
Yes, it's one part of the show that I got performed by a 22-piece
orchestra. Yeah,
live.
Congratulations, that's incredible. Are you a student?
Yes, I am. I'm a junior at Hofstra University.
Well, I look forward to
university, yeah. A lot more than when I was.
Yeah, man, you're gonna have to go back to school.
I have to go get a master's from.
Exactly. That's really, really fantastic. I enjoy hearing something different than just a straight pop song, or, and certainly lyrics, in my opinion, are very important. There are pop songs that are in the sugar category and pop songs that are in the food category. I hate to beat the shit out of Katy Perry all the time, but a lot of her songs are very mercurial and, quite honestly, fireworks. They explode. And then there's songs that are really holistic and fill you up, and can also be number one songs. The lyrics, and I truly believe lyrics save lives. Songs are important. I'm a very idealistic person in that regard, and I think a lot of people who are in the creative community and are either artists or, certainly I'm not an artist. You don't want me in your band. I live vicariously through every artist I've ever worked with or signed or songwriter I've worked with. Damn, I wish that I wrote those lyrics or whatever they are. So thank you for sharing that. That's intimate. I appreciate that.
Concord, we own this company called The Musical Company, and we do a lot of that stuff on the publishing side. So feel free to send me anything you're working on in that realm.
That's very generous, Andrew.
That's great.
Well, keep writing. This is really, really compelling stuff.
Thank you.
Wonderful, Michael. Thank you.
All right. If you guys are ready, we're going to go on to the next one.
100%.
Great.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. This artist would like to be anonymous. So let's just listen to her track.
Like the blood is pouring out my eyes, but the tears are too small to even be seen. clean, so no one cares about the words and what they mean. Gotta cover up all my scars so they can't be seen. Blood, do you feel it in my fingertips when I touch you and brush against your lips? Bleed onto me. Blood, do you see how it glistens when I'm at your throat? All because you don't listen. Bleed onto me.
Is there a chorus? Can we get to the chorus? I think that was the pre-chorus.
Hey, you know I know that I'm fucked up. Always shown the wrong types of fucked love. Never really knew how to feel without pain. Everything felt like a sick, twisted game. And I'm only making this more dangerous. And I'm thinking this could be the end of us. Whether this becomes the end of you and I, all I really know is something's gonna die. But do you feel it in my fingertips when I touch you and brush against your lips?
Okay. I was just trying to identify what the chorus was. That's super cool. What I like about that is the hook is very, very upfront. I almost feel like it's a little too upfront, just audio-wise. I would make the vocals a little louder, but the lyric I love, and it has momentum. The song itself has momentum from the beginning, which is very nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I feel like the lyric shows personality as well. Like there's a very visual component to this that even without a video, like we're saying, I could still see so much of what the story was telling as it progresses.
Yeah, I think you have a super unique voice. I was very impressed by your voice. I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was interesting because the song by itself without the track sounds like a good song, but then the track there, the tempo really moves the song along well. So I thought that was an interesting choice to pair.
Yeah,
that.
It's an interesting string, sort of string movement as the tempo. So I think that's super unique.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hi, that's like my song. Thank you so much.
Oh wow!
It's like it's like the first song I've ever actually shown anyone in my life, so I was really nervous about that.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks for trusting us.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
I mean, thanks for trusting us. Congrats. This is a really
thank you so much.
Really good.
I just I just wanted feedback because I don't really consider myself I feel like I'm like a very beginner person, but I was wondering when you guys listen to things as an A&R rep and stuff, and with A&R, do you guys do you guys expect a fully polished song, or are you guys more
I don't.
Never.
I've listened to voice notes, honestly, and the thing about what I think Greg was about to say, which I didn't touch on either, is that great songs transcend production. Lyrics are just, a great song, in my opinion, can be a country song, an EDM song, honestly, really anything, as long as it has the right lyric, the right hook, it has a pulse, it's honest, it's saying something. I feel like, honestly, you let us into your diary a little bit with that lyric.
Absolutely.
And it's unique, it's special. I mean, I'm happy to hear that you're a first timer, to be honest, because you're not, in my opinion, bogged down with all of the, preconceived notions of what you need to do. So congratulations. I mean, this is a hard place to get to on your own.
Thank you so much. I actually was collaborating on this song with another student in Britain that reached out to me. So the lyrics were kind of his lyrics were a starting point, and then we worked from that, and then eventually got to this. And then it's weird because it's kind of crazy how sometimes lyrics are one person comes up with the chorus, whereas a blend, and then my bridge is entirely done by myself, which we didn't get to, which is totally fine. And it's totally
I want to hear
different
that.
from
If
the rest of the
if you don't mind sharing the link, please.
I'll do that. It's a private link right now, so you can only access it via links. I'll share it in the chat.
Okay. I mean, if you don't mind, or at least with us, I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, no, I can definitely do it.
But also just bear in mind that in the lyric collaboration process, when you actually have a good, partner in crime, so to speak, when you're writing songs, you often complete each other. It sounds like you're collaboration partner and you guys are mentally on the same wavelength.
Yeah, finding your people
it was really
is so
cool.
I would write more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Keep going, but the lane you've discovered is very unique.
Thank you.
What year are you?
College. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm currently like typing it in the chat as I speak, but I'm actually a junior right now, but I've always been too scared to really put out my music because I see like a lot of other student artists, and I always like felt like they were so much more ahead of me and better than I were. So I've never really put out any like original music or like, you know, anything that I have like a lot of tracks sitting. It's just I've never really put it out or anything.
Right. I think this is a function of when you're ready to do so, deploying it into the world in the right way.
Yeah, I would also say I interact a lot with college musicians all the time, and I'd say you're right up there. I think your voice is really good, and you shouldn't be afraid to put more out. Would love to hear more, honestly.
Yeah, just keep writing, you know? It's all about just keep honing your craft, and you just keep getting better and better, which is great. And, you know, being in college and being surrounded by other, you know, artists and creatives is a great way to do it. You know,
I love these music business programs, people, because there's so many people in your college doing different things that you guys, you know, some are managers, some are songwriters, some are producers. Everyone is sort of seeking something different. I mean, you have a community on campus that you quite literally can tap into and should be tapping into. And thank you for sharing that song with us. It's beautiful. It's in the
Thank you so much for the feedback.
Of course, and I appreciate the trust. I know this is hard. I mean, it's an intimate process. Artists are often very, not all of them, but you know, it is a difficult process. So I appreciate you even being brave enough to do this today.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
That was amazing. I'm so glad you decided to share the conversation because I think you're awesome.
Thank you so much.
So we have one more track for you guys. Are you ready?
Fantastic. 100. Yes, this is great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let me get rid of this. So this song was submitted by an audience member who actually manages this artist. So the manager, feel free to hang around with the conversation. I'm not sure if your artist is here.
I dig the artwork.
Sick.
Yeah. I can't get you off my mind. Think of you all the time. Didn't wanna say bye. Girl, I miss your vibe, yeah, yeah. All these feelings that I wanna express, that I suppress, gotta say less. I can't get you off my mind. Think of you all the time. Put you up, no reply. I don't know why I try, yeah, yeah. And that's the hardest spell for me to digest. It's time to move on to the next. Yeah, laying in my bed, I can't get you out my head. 5 a.m. I should be sleeping, but my mind's on you instead. Got me going insane, feeling all this pain, damaging my brain. Damn, I missed that brain, and I take the blame. I know I was wrong, but you made me happy, you made me belong. I tell myself, right, girl, you gotta be strong, but it's too hard to get up and keep moving on. And so I try to forget, but all I find is regret. I'm sick and tired of being upset. I just want you out of my head, but I can't get you off my mind. Think of you all the time. Didn't wanna say bye. Girl, I miss your vibe, yeah, yeah. All these feelings that I wanna express, that I suppress, gotta say less. I can get you.
Oh, and here he is.
Hi, guys.
What's up, Logan?
That's a song. It does all the things that a song should do, and your voice is really good.
Are you the manager?
And,
Yes, yeah. So that's I submitted that on behalf of the artist I'm managing.
Your voice is great. Logan, you're awesome. I'm sorry. Tell us a little bit about this artist, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I have been friends with him for a long time. I've been looking a little bit for an artist to manage, and I was sort of, I guess, lying in wait a little bit before I finally jumped on a ship and decided to manage an artist because, and I chose him because not only do I think that he's talented, but he's very driven, and he's also very intelligent, which I think is something that is often lacking, that sort of awareness and intuition. So he's
about, I think he's 20 years old. He goes to Duke, but he lives up here, so he's back now because of all of the self-isolation.
Yeah, of course.
He's been working on this probably for the past year. And we've been doing a lot of promotion sort of just by ourselves with Spotify playlists. We've gotten on to a couple Spotify playlists with a couple of his songs. That song right there, Off My Mind, was, I think that's his most popular song so far, at least by the Spotify metrics.
Right.
But he has a new release called Stoppin' Me, that's his most recent. That's the one that we've done the most promotion for as of yet. And that one has been gaining a lot of traction as well.
Does he write everything himself, or?
Yes, yeah, all of the lyrics are himself. He does a lot of the production and mixing himself. But he does get some mixing and mastering and vocal tracking from a studio that's local.
Was he playing shows before all of this, or
So
is that through, or maybe after once all of this is done?
Yeah, so he has not been big into public performances yet, but that's going to be the next step for sure, because we think that we're at that point where we can start doing some club tours in the city.
Great.
That's fantastic.
I'll just make a quick note. I think the melodies were really good there, and he's got a good voice. I felt like the lyrics were a little bit generic. I feel like they're a little bit cut and paste. I kind of heard a lot. I've heard sort of a lot of those sort of like cliches before. And look, there's nothing wrong with simple lyrics. A lot of the times, the best songs in the world have lyrics that are conversational and people can understand. But I think there's room for improvement there in terms of sort of the story that's being told a little bit.
Great, thank you.
Will you please post the Spotify link to the artists in the chat, please?
Yes, I will. I just sent it.
Thank you. I would like to look further. So I think we have completed our hour. I wanted to open it up for anybody who just has one or two compelling questions for the board, or any specific people on this panel that we didn't get to.
Yeah, can everyone send a chat to Jason or to the group, please? And thank you for all the students.
100%. And this was fantastic. Thank you, Gabrielle and team, for pulling this together. Or Jillian, I'm sorry. For pulling this together under the conditions. Actually, this was kind of cool. Where is the division between a music professional and talented musicians in the family? Example of sibling in another label. This is from Valerie. Okay, so I'm trying to understand an example. Do you have a real world example, Valerie? Is she able to join the call?
Do you mean like in the music business?
If you look in the chat, I really don't understand the question. Is the problem? Where's the division between a music professional and talented musicians in the family? Oh, her little brother is signed to an independent label. Oh, well, I mean, are you managing? Oh, but you work at a major. Got it. I mean, are you able to help your brother? I mean, can you join the chat real quick? It might be a little easier. I mean, honestly, I always, with family or friends, my rule is just sort of not to mix business. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Hi
sorry
there.
about that. Hey, nice to meet you.
How are you guys?
Good, Valerie. Thank you.
No, thank you for
So you
joining
work
the
at a
chat
major.
with me.
You work at a major label, and your brother is signed to an independent.
Yeah. So
okay,
I'm
that's
sorry
kind of those are blessings.
It is. I'm sorry if I confused you guys with the question. It's more I was trying to ask, like, I never usually do that, but it's more of where my brothers are working on other sides of music, but I don't ever mix that together. But where would you say it's okay for them to say, oh, like, can you help me or something? I've never helped anyone in my family like that, because I just feel like they have to have their own journey and figure things out on their own. I try to give advice.
I don't think there's any problem with accelerating. You know, if the music's good and you believe in your brother, give it to an A&R person. You know, nobody has the monopoly on good taste. That's the thing. A&R is so personal, and everyone does it differently. And my qualifiers are different than Chris's and Greg's and Andrew's and so on. And, you know, I wouldn't feel, I mean, generally as a rule, I've never mixed it up. And now that I think about it, I have given a lot of music that I believed in to other labels even. You know, and you probably know a lot of people in the industry. So I don't feel, as long as you believe in your brother and you're not diluting your own relationships, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, does anybody else have an opinion about it?
I don't think there's any problem
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
100%.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Is there anyone else on this call that would like to ask us anything?
How you fell into something. Do you see that from Hannah?
I'm sorry.
There's so many different aspects of the business. I was wondering how you came to find which part you fell into.
Oh, okay. It's a good question. You want to answer that first, Andrew?
I didn't know. So when I was growing up, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I knew music was a thing that I wanted to, but I was really, bad at being a musician. So then I used to manage artists back in high school, and then that kind of went over to when I went to Long Island for school at Hofstra. So when I was doing that, I knew management wasn't really great because I was basically just babysitting the bands, I guess, and it was just kind of, I knew I didn't really want to like do that full. I mean, being a manager is amazing, and it's probably one of the most fulfilling careers. But after that, I just sort of knew I wanted to do A&R. I was scouting for people, and it kind of, I was always interested in knowing who the songwriters are on a track, who produced it, who mixed it, what was on the radio, like how is this a number one song as opposed to something else. So I knew that was sort of where I wanted to be. So I just started sort of interning in the city through Hofstra, and I did about 4 or 5 internships, and kind of I was out at shows all the time, and that was kind of how I fell into it. So basically I just fell into A&R after a while. So yeah.
Do we have any suggestions for students that do any of the companies that we work for, Andrew, any of you guys, have internship programs that students could apply for? Like, Kylee, what did you do to get so active in the industry previous to graduating that some of your compadres on this call could learn from?
Yeah, for sure. I actually interned like every semester starting from my first and freshman year because I just had no idea what I wanted to do. So I did a bunch of different things and just tried to figure out where did I find like my personal click in terms of creative versus business. A lot of it was in the beginning some remote stuff that I got through our music business club. My next one, I interned for Milk Boy Studios, recording studios in Philly, and I found that one through a documentary. And then all of the other ones, the more A&R ones, I just applied. I reached out to people that I knew. I was always active, always trying to meet people. So definitely like, just putting out a ton of applications and trying to communicate and like use your network, use your mentor's network, do whatever you can.
That's good advice. But I mean, I've always said, get in a building, you'll probably be the first person to at least be offered a job if you're getting it. So I'm going to take one more question, and then I think we need to wrap this up. If there are artists I've been building a relationship with that I believe in, but they are across the country from me, what are some actions that I can take to move forward with the A&R process? This is from Ethan Brooks. If Ethan wants to join real quick, that would be helpful.
Hello.
Hi, Ethan.
What's up, man?
Good question. Are you talking about how to maintain relationships with A&R people when your artist is not near you, or?
Yes. I'm kind of from a small town in Jersey. Went to college in a small town in PA.
Okay.
I'm more hip-hop oriented, so a lot of artists that I do find and talk to are West Coast, or one I'm speaking to right now is in Houston, but I'm not sure how to move forward.
In what regard? Like in managing them properly, or shopping them to A&R people, to labels, to distributors?
Yeah, kind of shopping them.
Well, I think right now everyone is remote, so I wouldn't necessarily sweat it in the immediate because we're all going to be not working from our offices for the next
month
8
or so
weeks minimum. So I would say, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there have been so many artists that I've talked to or managers that I've interfaced with from the A&R side that they're based in Nashville and their managers in LA, or they're in Chicago and their guys in Atlanta. Like,
yeah, I don't think geography matters anymore.
Yeah, I think if you have an internet connection and like some semblance of decent communication skills, I think it's just being fast to hit people back, be respectful on your reach outs, try to get to people through genuine connections and not cold emails.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about being respectful on your reach outs? Because I mean, that's one of the things that I think we all challenge with is people hitting me on DM all day. I don't accept them. You know?
I'd love that. I had there were a couple artists when I started at Atlantic, almost from this end, just to remember that we're all humans and constantly making mistakes. There were artists when I was scouting for Atlantic, like an intern, basically, years ago. And I said I worked as an A&R for Atlantic Records, like not realizing that's not actually what I was doing. And then I got a call from a real grown-up manager saying, I can call the CEO of Atlantic Records right now and like check if you're a real person, which instilled the fear of God into me.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was that moment when I realized, oh God, even from this side, you can be the one to start it off on the wrong foot.
Totally.
But I think now I think on this end, there is a lot of patience given to people, because if no one tells you, like, it's so simple, but if no one tells you, like, hey, don't just DM someone because that's invasive and weird, like, find an email, find whatever. And if you are, I feel like a rule of thumb, and all the older, more experienced, wiser people here, please correct me if I'm wrong, but like a rule of thumb I've learned is if you're a manager hitting an A&R person, it's probably too early, right? Unless it's
That's actually a good way to put it.
Yeah, like there are rarities, but
right.
Are you trying to manage the artist, or because post quarantine? I mean, I would just sort of hop on a call or
just FaceTime them.
And after the quarantine, if you're that passionate about it, just hop on a flight to Houston and hang out.
Yeah,
that's what I would
see what kind of damage you can actually do with the artist before you commit to it.
Thank you.
Of course. So I appreciate everyone tuning in, all of my co-hosts here, so to speak, and certainly the Hofstra University MEISA committee for putting this together. I think we all have things to do and other meetings to happen today. So thank you, Dr. T, or Professor T rather, for having us. And if you guys, have questions for us, we're all Googleable in the sense that, there's contact information. I'm happy to give you mine. Super easy. It's jasonjordanmp3@gmail.com. If you want to share any music with me, I'm happy to hear it. I won't speak for everyone else, but
I feel like in this instance, now that I said it, I'm full of it because I'm just Chris Cline on Instagram. Feel free to hit me there. This is the one time I will offer that up. I'm Chris.Cline at Atlantic Records if you want to send music over. And just be chill. I don't know. This is a weird world right now. Send us music that you think is cool.
It sure is, but I do have time to listen.
And by the way, I will give my email, but I do have a note for any of the participants out there. If any of you guys are computer science or math majors as well, there's a project I'm working on. It's a lot of work. You won't get paid for it, but it could be really, really cool. You can email me at gregjohnson33@gmail.com and hit me up, especially if you're a computer science math major and you also have an interest in music.
That's really generous.
Thank you. You're on this call.
Yeah, I'll give my email out too. You can email it out or whatever. It's just andrew.west@concord.com. And our New York office, we're always looking for interns. Every field. It can be through college credit or just, under, whatever, free, or if you need to learn more about the business, we're always looking for people. Digital marketing, A&R. I may need an intern too, so who knows?
It's good information.
I'd just like to thank all the A&R panelists today for coming together and like moving forward with this new platform. Obviously, this is like kind of different. This is the 6th year we've been doing this. And I think it's gone even better than in person sometimes.
Actually,
you know?
This was great. And the fact that you were able to record it, I'd love to see it.
Yes. So for everyone still tuning in, all the 3 panels will be available on the Hofstra MEISA YouTube channel. We'll be sending an email to you guys. If you would like to talk to any of these panelists and you have not signed up for mentoring sessions yet, please do so. We sent out forms to you guys to fill that out. And we'll also circulate everyone's like information here that they put in the chat, okay?
That's really sweet of you.
Thank you so much.
Again, thank you everyone. This was really great. I'd love to do it again. So
great. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, we will be in touch. Okay,
Thank you.
Wonderful. Everyone have a blessed day and stay safe and wash your hands.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Take